what if I told you that Elon Musk actually pulled it off? He successfully colonized Mars. Imagine that. We've been hearing about it for years. SpaceX, Starship, and Musk's dream to make humanity a multi-planetary species. But now, it's real. Picture it, humans waking up on the red planet, looking out at a pinkish sky with 2 moons overhead. They're not in sci-fi movies anymore. They're in a dome, under an artificial atmosphere that protects them from deadly radiation, extreme temperatures, and the lack of breathable air. But here's the kicker. It's not just a few astronauts or scientists. No, this is a full-fledged colony. Families, kids, maybe even the first Martian-born human baby. It's the biggest leap in human history since we landed on the moon. So what would this actually look like? And what would it mean for us here on Earth? Mars has always fascinated us, from ancient times when people saw it as the god of war, to modern times when we've sent robots to explore its surface. But Mars isn't some barren, lifeless rock anymore. In this future, it's bustling with life, human life. But it wasn't easy. Far from it. Colonizing Mars would be the most difficult and expensive endeavor humans have ever attempted. There would be so many challenges. I mean, think about it. Mars is 140 million miles away on a good day. Getting there takes months. And once you're there, well, you're stuck. There's no going back home for the weekend or taking a quick trip to the grocery store. Everything has to be carefully planned and managed. The first settlers would have to grow their own food, mine resources from the Martian soil, and make sure the technology keeping them alive doesn't fail. Let's say Musk managed to overcome all these obstacles. He probably would have used a combination of nuclear-powered rockets, solar farms, and massive cargo ships filled with all the tools needed to survive. His SpaceX starships would be flying back and forth between Earth and Mars like some kind of cosmic airline. The settlers would live in massive habitats, domes at first, but eventually underground bases to protect from cosmic radiation. And over time, they'd start to terraform parts of Mars, introducing plants, algae, and bacteria that could slowly build up an atmosphere, making Mars more Earth-like. It's not something that would happen overnight, but this would be a huge step towards creating a second Earth. Think of it like Earth 2.0. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just some backup plan in case Earth goes wrong. This changes everything. If Elon Musk successfully colonized Mars, we'd have officially become a spacefaring civilization. We wouldn't just be bound to one planet anymore. We'd be a species that can live on more than one world. That means the possibilities for the future are endless. We could expand beyond Mars to the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and beyond the solar system one day. And let's not forget the advancements in science and technology that would come with it. Think about the new inventions, medical breakthroughs, and even cultural shifts that would happen because of living in space. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Life on Mars wouldn't be a vacation. The first few decades would probably be pretty rough. People would have to work constantly to maintain the colony, and they'd be living in tight spaces. The Martian dust storms alone could knock out solar power for weeks, and the extreme cold would be a constant threat. Also, Mars's gravity is only about 38% of Earth's, which means long-term health effects like bone loss and muscle atrophy could be serious issues. But hey, nothing worth doing ever came easy, right? You might be thinking, why even bother? Why spend all this money, time, and effort on Mars when we have so many problems here on Earth? Poverty, climate change, inequality, the list goes on. But here's the thing, colonizing Mars could actually help us solve problems on Earth. The technology developed for Mars could be used to create better renewable energy sources, improve food production, and even help clean up the environment. Plus, let's be real, if we stay on Earth forever, we're putting all our eggs in one basket. One big asteroid, one catastrophic event, and we're done. Mars is our insurance policy, our plan B. Now, let's take a step back and think about the bigger picture. What would it feel like to be one of those first colonists? Waking up every day on an alien world, knowing that you're part of something so much bigger than yourself. You'd be making history just by being there. And you'd be part of a new chapter in human evolution. Can you imagine that feeling? The awe, the excitement, the responsibility? It would be like nothing anyone has ever experienced before. You wouldn't just be surviving, you'd be thriving on a whole new planet. Before we continue with our video, if you're finding this fascinating, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We've got more amazing content on the way, and you won't want to miss it. Now back to the video. One of the biggest challenges Musk and his team would face is how to govern the colony. Would Mars be independent from Earth? Would it have its own laws, its own currency, its own culture? Or would it remain a colony under Earth's control? This is where things get tricky. You see, history has shown us that colonies eventually want independence. Just look at the American Revolution. So it's not hard to imagine that after a few generations, the people of Mars might want to break free from Earth's control. They'd see themselves as Martians, not Earthlings. This could lead to political tension between Earth and Mars. And who knows, we might even see the first interplanetary war. But let's hope it doesn't come to that. Instead, imagine Mars and Earth working together, sharing resources, knowledge, and culture. A partnership that could take humanity to the stars. And speaking of the stars, Mars wouldn't just be the end goal. It would be the launch pad for even greater things. From Mars, we could explore the rest of the solar system. Imagine astronauts landing on Europa, Titan, or even venturing out to the asteroid belt to mine precious metals. The colonization of Mars would open the door to a whole new era of space exploration. But there's one more thing we need to talk about: the cost. Colonizing Mars wouldn't be cheap. We're talking trillions of dollars over several decades. So who's going to pay for it? Well, in this scenario, it's a mix of government funding, private investment, and probably some new forms of space-based commerce. Think space tourism, mining, and maybe even interplanetary trade. Companies could make billions by being the first to establish industries on Mars. It would be like the space version of the Wild West, with entrepreneurs racing to stake their claim on the red planet. Now, let's zoom in a bit. What would day-to-day life look like for someone living on Mars? Well, it would probably be a lot like life on Earth, but with some major differences. For starters, your commute wouldn't involve driving through traffic, but more like walking through underground tunnels or hopping on a rover to get from one dome to another. You'd have to wear a spacesuit anytime you wanted to go outside, and your diet would probably consist of a lot of plants grown in greenhouses, along with lab-grown meat. And the views? Well, forget the blue skies of Earth. On Mars, you'd see a dusty, reddish landscape stretching out as far as the eye can see, with towering volcanoes and deep canyons in the distance. But despite all these challenges, life on Mars would be an adventure. Every day would bring new discoveries, new inventions, and new ways of living. The people who choose to live on Mars would be pioneers, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And who knows, maybe one day, the children of Mars will look up at the night sky and see Earth as just a small blue dot, far away, but still home. As we wrap this up, it's important to realize that colonizing Mars wouldn't just be about survival. It would be about thriving, about pushing humanity forward, about exploring the unknown and taking our place among the stars. It's the next step in our evolution, and Elon Musk is leading the charge. Whether or not you think it's possible, one thing is clear: the dream of colonizing Mars has captured our imagination. And who knows, maybe one day we'll all be looking up at the night sky and wondering what it would be like to visit our neighbors on the red planet. If you enjoyed this journey into the future, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We've got more exciting videos coming up, and you won't want to miss them. Thanks for watching.